Kasey Harvey. Before I was diagnosed with cancer, I was a Division I competitive soccer goalie for Arsenal FC. I was like any typical 13-year-old girl. I was in 7th grade at Mesa Verde. I enjoyed going to the beach with my family, hanging out with my friends, and just having fun. The summer of 2014, I trained very hard to prepare for a soccer tournament my team was attending in November. It took place in Orlando, Florida. The training included weight training in our gym and punting at the field with my dad for hours. But just weeks before I was supposed to fly from San Diego to Orlando, my whole life took a drastic turn for the worst. It was a Sunday in November when I felt a little cold coming on. Monday was the same, but Tuesday was when we noticed some swelling. Well, we weren't too concerned, so I went to school that day. Wednesday is when things took a sharp turn. My face was severely swollen and I felt terrible. My dad knew something just wasn't right, so that morning he took me to urgent care. The doctor was concerned that it might be something to do with my teeth, so he suggested that I went and saw a dentist. Unfortunately, our dentist was not open on Wednesday, so we made an appointment for Thursday. On Thursday, my dad and I headed down to the dentist hoping to get some answers. The dentist took a look at my mouth and said I needed a root canal, but I needed to go to the endodontist. My dad immediately started researching endodontists. We drove to a nearby, but it didn't take our insurance. I remember sitting in my dad's truck for hours while he phoned tons of dentist offices and searched for someone who could fix my teeth. They either didn't take our insurance, didn't take kids, or didn't have any appointments until December. Finally, my dad found a place, but it didn't take our insurance. We went with them anyways. We were scheduled for early that next morning. Friday, we set off down to Del Mar, where their office was located. The facility was very nice and the nurses were very good at getting me to relax. My endodontist was incredible. He was smart and welcoming. We did some tests and got started. I was extremely nervous for what the next 45 minutes was going to bring. I sat and listened to music as they numbed my mouth and got started. At no point during the procedure, I felt any pain. After he was done, I expected this whole ordeal to finally be over, but the endodontist thought otherwise. He told us that the root was alive and healthy and I did not need the root canal. But once you start a root canal, you must complete it. We thanked him and left with our problem still unsolved. We headed over to Scripps Hospital ER parking lot. We sat there for a while looking at our options. We ended up driving off. We headed down the 56 freeway on our way home. Just before the last exit, something told my dad that just something wasn't right. He flipped a U-turn and we drove back to the ER. One of the ER doctors greeted us waiting in the waiting room. He said we could either order something stronger, antibiotics, or go back into the ER and start an IV, get a CT scan, and get some answers. We thought it would be best to get some answers, so they took me back to the bed and started an IV, and I got a CT scan. While we were waiting for results, they gave me some morphine to ease the pain. The results came back, and the ER doctor told us my sinus was filled with infection. He gave us stronger antibiotics, hoping that would do the trick. That week, nothing improved. I couldn't keep down any of the antibiotics. Monday morning, we decided to go to Rady Children's Hospital ER. We went to the ER where I was admitted immediately. The plan was to give me 24-hour IV antibiotics. Tuesday, an ear, nose, and throat surgeon came to talk to us. They stuck a camera up my left nostril and said my sinus was still packed with infection. They said surgery would be another option, so we agreed. Wednesday, I had a quick surgery, and they said they got most of the infection drained. They also took a biopsy to send to the laboratory. Happily, we left the hospital Thursday morning. Although I had a bandage across my nose, a couple nosebleeds were the only scars the surgery left. Sunday, I was back to my normal self. We even drove down to Orange County to watch my team play and told my coach that I'd be back at practice on Monday and that I would be ready for Florida, which was only a week away. After the game, we hopped in the car. We barely got out of the complex when my sister Caitlin said she left her chair at the field. My dad pulled over. He jumped out of the car and walked to go get the chair. Seconds later, my mom's phone started ringing. The caller ID read Rady Children's Hospital. We assumed it was pathology with my biopsy results. Nothing could have prepared my mom for what this lady was about to say. The look on my mom's face was many things: confused, terrified, and shocked. She got out of the car crying. Minutes passed as my sister and I watched from the car. Confused at the situation, we watched as my mom flailed her arms. She motioned my dad, who raced up the thorny, bushy hill. She handed him the phone. At this point, my mom motioned for one of the soccer dads to come over. He comforted her while my dad was on the phone. My dad fell to his knees. I jumped out of the car screaming, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" The conversation on the phone ended. My parents looked at me and said 3 words that could change my life forever. "You have cancer." The whole world went into slow motion. Screaming, I hugged my mom. I turned to see 4 of my soccer teammates standing there. I raced and hugged them so tight. That night I was very quiet, scared of what tomorrow was going to bring. That week was probably the scariest week of my life. I had to undergo a chest CT, an hour-and-a-half MRI, a bone scan, and a spinal lumbar puncture. Friday, November 17th, I had my first ever VAC treatment. After the results came back that the tumor was localized, we could all sleep a little better. I was diagnosed with alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma. I had 42 weeks of chemotherapy ahead of me. Also during this time, I am working out on a regular basis. With the help of an amazing person named Clay Tresca, a stage 4 terminal cancer survivor, and he also completed an Ironman just 4 months out of treatment. He has been a huge part of this journey. It's such a motivation to keep working out and beat this. This January, I started proton radiation. It was a very grueling 7 weeks of my life. My radiation doctors were extremely intelligent people who have played a huge part in saving my life. The chemotherapy has knocked me around immensely. It is one of the toughest things I will ever go through. One of the reasons why I'm working out is because chemo can damage your heart and lungs. So when I'm working out, the chemo is being pumped through my heart. Although this has been tough, with the help of so many people, it's made it so much easier. Losing is not an option. Thank you.